how to get your GLP-1 covered. Now, when I post in Facebook groups, because I love my Facebook groups, people will often ask that question: how do I get my GLP-1 covered by my insurance? This question seems like at face value that it would be a very simple question to answer. However, it's not. It's a little complex. It's simple, but it's complex at the same time. It's going to depend on your insurance policy. Your policy is going to decide, or is going to state rather, whether or not a GLP-1 is covered, and if it is, under what circumstances. Now, I know a lot of people were very excited when the GLP-1s got covered for sleep apnea. The thought was, because we have a new indication, it's going to be covered, we're going to get access, more patients are going to be able to get access. However, a lot of the policies did not decide to cover the GLP-1s for sleep apnea. So most often than not, a GLP-1 is going to be covered on a policy for diabetes, for diabetic. Your policy may allow for a GLP-1 to be covered for weight loss. It may not. It may not cover anything from weight loss. Typically, from what I see as a pharmacist, most medications when it comes to weight loss are not covered. That be it phentermine, be it Contrave, any of that. Most of it is not covered for weight loss. Patients are paying cash price out of pocket using some sort of discount card, whatever you want to say. They are not going through their insurance because insurance simply does not cover these medications for weight loss. And so we kind of see this trend that the insurance companies are not covering GLP-1s for weight loss. Now, how are people getting the medications then? Because it seems like everybody is on a GLP-1. How are they getting it covered? So it's important to know that you have tirzepatide and you have semaglutide. Tirzepatide is going to be your Zepbound and your Mounjaro, and your semaglutide is going to be your Wegovy and your Ozempic. Now, Zepbound and Wegovy are both for weight loss. So if a patient is taking Zepbound, if they're taking Wegovy and the insurance is paying for it, that means that their policy provides provisions for weight loss therapy to be covered, and they're on those products. Now, if a patient is taking Ozempic and they're taking Mounjaro, then most times it's because that patient has diabetes and the policy is covering these medications for a diabetes diagnosis. So that really is the whole nut in the shell. How you get these medications covered is by seeing what your policy covers for. If your policy does not cover weight loss medications, can you get a prior authorization, which is basically your doctor writing to the insurance company and saying, hey, my patient needs this medication for XYZ? Will that then cause the insurance company to approve the weight loss medications? I can't tell you yes and I can't tell you no because I don't work in managed care. But what I can say is if the policy has an exclusion for weight loss medications, 9 times out of 10, even if you get the product, even if you get the provider to submit a prior authorization, it is still not going to be covered by the insurance company. And so a lot of patients, especially, I know I may be getting some influx of patients who have PCOS. A lot of the patients with PCOS are getting the Ozempic and they're getting the Mounjaro cover because likely they're going to the office, they're getting labs drawn, and they're having an elevated A1C, high fasting glucose level, and then the provider is writing for the Mounjaro and the insurance company is covering for the diabetes, whether they do it as an E11.0 or whatever the case may be. They're covering it for diabetes. Now, how do you find out whether or not your insurance will cover the medication? It's very simple. You can give them a call. you have your insurance card, you turn it over, there's a customer service phone number, you call them up, you say, hey, I just want to know for my policy, in what situations are GLP-1 medications covered. Or you can ask them, for my policy, are GLP-1s covered for weight loss? Are they covered for diabetes? Are they covered for sleep apnea? You can call them and ask them. Also, a lot of the policies are online, so you can simply go online. If you have Aetna, you can go to Aetna.com. You can set up an account, you can log into that account, and then you should have access to your policy information. And a lot of times these companies have apps where you can download the app and create an account, and you can also see what is on your policy. That is the most efficient way, in my opinion. Now, what is the cost looking like if insurance covers your GLP-1? And this is like a whole different topic, really, because this is how to get it covered. If for whatever reason the insurance company does not cover it, you do have some options to you, whether it is compounding, so you can decide to go to a compounding pharmacy. Most times these pharmacies will have collaborative agreements with the provider, or vice versa, where you see a provider and then they will write a prescription for you. The prescription goes over to the compounding pharmacy and they make the medication for you, and then they mail it out and you can inject it. So that's one way. The other thing is, I believe that these drug companies now have what they call direct to consumer, where again the idea is they have a provider who will, have a consultation, conduct a consultation. Once they determine that you're a candidate for the therapy, they'll write the prescription, and then it'll get mailed directly out to you from the manufacturer. Again, back to price, because I kind of skipped over that. When it comes to the price, if insurance covers the medication, I have seen prices vary from no copay to $500. That is probably about the general range. Either it's a $0 copay, a $25 copay, a $500 copay. Aside from that, if it's not covered, most times it's $500. I think that there's still a coupon out there floating around, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that there's still one floating around that will give you that $500 cost. Now, a lot of companies, CVS came out at I want to say it was the top of the year, and they said that they were going to only carry or only cover, I think for their employees, they were going to only cover Ozempic and Wegovy. I think they entered in some type of partnership with them, and so my understanding, there is cost savings on those products at CVS. I don't work for CVS, so I can't tell you how much that cost savings is or what the price may be. I also know that Costco has also come out with a cost saving, I don't know if you want to call it an algorithm or a program. They've also come up with their own cost saving program. So for the low doses of Wegovy and Ozempic, I think if you're a Costco member, it's like $1.99. And for those intermediate doses, I think it's $2.99. And then for the higher doses, I think it's $4.99. But if I'm not mistaken, it is only for the Ozempic and the Wegovy. It is not for the Mounjaro and the tirzepatide. So in short, how do you get these medications covered? When you're asking people who are taking these medications that question, what you're really asking or really happening is their policy is choosing to cover the medication for certain conditions, and that patient has one of those conditions, and that's how they're getting that medication covered. And how you can get it covered is if you call your insurance company and find out what your policy covers for, and then if you fit into one of the policy coverages, you get it covered, and if not, you do not, unfortunately. I hope this video helps. I know it was kind of all over the place because I had a ton of thoughts and I wanted to get them all out. But if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down below. If I've missed something, if you feel like I've overstated something, I am not a managed care girly. So if you are a managed care pharmacist and you have something more to add that could be beneficial to the people, please also do that down below. This is just from my personal professional experience, what I've seen and what I've been seeing day to day in the pharmacy. I hope you found it helpful. And until next time, as always, guys, bye.